All right, welcome on in everyone to this episode of First CSP, the channel dedicated to bringing you the first council shoulder patch issued from each council in Scouting America, both past and present. Today we're going to take a look at CAW 191 out of Kansas. This was originally formed in 1929 as the name change from Wyandotte County 191 and lasted up until 1974 when it merged with Kansas City Area 309 to form Heart of America 307. Now, again, with council shoulder patches formally being introduced in 1970, most councils taking a couple of years to start producing them, and this council merging out in 1974, there was very little time for CSPs to be produced, and there is only one T1 that exists for CAW 191. So let's head on over to the patch table. Here we have the one and only issue, the T1, defined with its white border, dark red background, thick white letters, horizontally stitched eye, slanted cheek, and pointed nose. Those additional descriptors are important because while there is only one issue from the CAW Council, this council is one of those that has a known reproduction. And this is actually a video that I've been very excited to be able to shoot at some point. However, for a long time, we've been waiting on finding what is a reasonably priced reproduction, because most people unfortunately do believe that their reproduction is one of the authentic T1s. And because there's fewer of these CAW Council T1s, they are a little bit more pricey. You can see on the back of the T1 here, we have the traditional gauze cloth back. I'm going to leave this one up towards the top. We have been able to find one of those reproductions, so I'll be able to slot it in here, and we can talk about the differences, which are pretty easy once you have them side by side to see. So at the bottom here is the reproduction. It is the TUA, the U being unauthorized production, with its white border, dark red background, thinner white letters. I don't actually think it has thinner white letters. I think it has thicker letters. The almost vertical cheek. So the thickness of the cheek here is really one of the biggest giveaways. All the cheeks look very thin in the originals, the authentic T1s. The reproductions, this is a much thinner cheek. They say it's almost vertical. It doesn't really look vertical to me. The eye is vertically sewn. It's kind of just one big blob. Whereas here you have a very separate eye and eyebrow, which were separate stitchings for sure. And then the more rounded nose is depicted on the TUA, whereas we do certainly have a more pointed nose. You can just see kind of the stitching on the authentic T1 is just a little bit tighter overall in producing that image. Let's see if we can get our focus back. In producing that image, and the reproduction really kind of does look like a reproduction. It looks like kind of a sloppy copy for the segment. Now, in person, I will tell you, this looks like a richer dark red. You're not seeing a big difference on camera. It's maybe the tiniest bit finer grain for the twill here, and it looks a half shade darker. Let's see if our magnifying glass will actually pick any of that up for us. So, see if I can avoid the ring light. So there is the close-up of the twill on the T1. Here is the close-up of the twill for the TUA. It's just a hair less coarse. It's not really giving us much difference in the shading, but I will say in person, this looks just a touch darker. That's not going to be something when if it's by itself to be able to differentiate the two. The difference in these text, which looks very visible, just the clean, kind of tight, a little bit thinner text here on the T1. Obviously, the much thicker, and then obviously this rounded nose, big fat cheek line, very different, very distinct. The eye just being kind of a massive blob, very distinct. I will say though, the reproduction, probably done within the same decade because it is that older style gauze cloth back. I can actually look at both backs together. Reproduction we have here has a little bit of yellowing, but again, the back is not going to be one of the greatest ways to tell the difference here. They look fairly similar, but the difference in stitching in the Native American head at the center of the patch should be enough to be able to tell whether you're dealing with the reproduction or the authentic T1. And the authentic T1 here at the top and the reproduction at the bottom. One of the things that's been important to us as we've started this channel, obviously our personal collection was all about just collecting the first issues, but now that we've set forth to try and present these to everyone, we want to try and provide as much context for identification as possible. So we've done a lot of work this year in trying to actually collect the reproductions like you see here. We did that with St. Louis. We've done that with several over the course of this year so that we can bring you the episodes where you can see head to head what does the authentic patch look like, what does the reproduction look like, how do you tell the difference, so that if you're a collector and are trying to collect, maybe that's your council or you want to do a first CSP collection, whatever it may be, that you know exactly what you're getting. We had some questions about Chautauqua the other day on the internet. We were able to point people to our video on the channel, as well as I provided them with some additional pictures where we can help people with identification and information, education. We really love that being a part of the channel. We hope that you enjoy it as well. If you are interested specifically in council patches that have known reproductions for first issues, we have a whole playlist separated out so you can just look at those. If you're trying to find one, see if you have a reproduction, see if you have the original or want to get one, etc. By all means, check that out. We have several other playlists on the channel, and we're back every single day with brand new episodes. So that is Caw Council, the one and only issue, and then we showed you the reproduction here as well. We'll be back again tomorrow with another new episode. We hope to see you then. We really appreciate you stopping by and watching the videos. Until then, hope you guys have a great rest of your day.